Obviously, all the coaches that are here also played here. Coach Gaines, Coach Wiersbicki, Coach Howell, and Coach Riley. Brandon Riley's back. He just got his degree after playing, I want to say, 4 years of professional baseball. So I was fortunate to recruit all those guys, coach them when they were here. They all played in Omaha, except for Coach Howell. But Coach Howell, I coached way back in the Coastal Plain League. So just great memories, and now I get to watch them raise their families. They're great men, they're great leaders, they're really good coaches, obviously, and really good recruiters. So when that's the case, you end up having great players and you end up having good teams.
You've said a lot about Vance over the years. Is there anything you haven't said about him to this point?
Oh, man. I think the one thing about Vance, unless you're around him every single day, you really don't know him like I know him. So everybody else just sees what he does on the field, but he does a lot more for our program. He's one of our big-time leaders. He's a great student, made a 4.0 this semester during his draft, quote, year. He's performed during his draft year where you have even more pressure. I would say the biggest thing is that Vance cares about winning the most, and that's had a huge impact on us. You look at the 3 years he's been here, he's had a huge impact. We've won a lot of games, and we're having, our best season as a team since he's been here, which is a big credit to him for sure.
What was it like watching him have that tournament that he had 2 years ago down there and just sort of explode onto the scene?
Yeah, he was hot, wasn't he?
Super hot.
Super hot. It was fun to watch, obviously. The 2 home runs on Sunday were even more fun to watch against NC State. But to see just him continue to improve throughout the year, to see everything him and Coach Wiersbicki were working on from the day he stepped on campus. He struck out at a really high rate early that season. And in the second half, he didn't. And he also, had a ton of doubles and a ton of home runs. And that was a big reason we made the run that we made, because of his power and him driving in runs. We hit him in the 4-hole, and those other guys were getting on base, and that was fun to watch for sure.
Obviously, you want to get to Omaha every year, but knowing the players you're going to lose after this season and others that you might lose after this season, is there even more urgency to get it done this year?
What are you saying? We're not going to be any good next year? Come on. You know what? Obviously, the coaching side of you is always planning. You got roster management. You're always thinking of the next team. But if you look at all the new faces we had this year combined, obviously we all know what we're losing. But for me, every team's individual. For all I know, next year we get lucky and we have another great team. We're going to be deep on the mound, but it's about this team, and you want to create memories for the current team that you're coaching. And the more that I coach, the more I understand that every team's unique, every team's different. It's your job as a head coach to try to figure out what type of team you have, and then try to put those guys in the right positions to help that team be the most successful. Because we talk about it all the time. This group will never be the same. We could only lose 5 players, but we still lose 5 players. You always lose somebody, but it's not going to change. I'm going to feel like we should get to Omaha next year, and it's hard to get to Omaha, so I know that. I've been here long enough to know that, and more and more I'm just trying to get these guys to focus on today, and if we get to that super regional, we'll try to win it.
Scott, ACC tournament is really the only time in the postseason you need 4 arms if you're going to win the championship. How do you kind of navigate wanting to win the games that are ahead of you, but also kind of thinking towards maybe playing 4 games?
Yeah, you definitely have to think about that, but more because of the format. The higher you're seeded, it gives you the ability to potentially make some different decisions, but you still got to win to get to where you want to go. But we feel like we have it set up where we started Cam Paget against Charlotte. We started Ben Peterson against William and Mary. Olin Johnson has started throughout the year. So we feel like we have some depth. We won the ACC tournament in 2013, and we went into Sunday against Virginia Tech and had 2 pitchers available. And we started Taylor Cherry, who had 5 innings all year, and we had Trevor Kelly, who was our everyday sidearmer, who could throw 2 or 3. But I feel like we have more depth, and I feel like that 4th starter will be good, whoever we end up rolling out there. The goal for us is just we hope that we can get our 3 starters out there for sure, and then, depending on what happens with the other games, we might push a guy. And for all I know, it could be Aiden Houthorne in the championship game, but we'll just see how it goes each day.
So if you go into the Wake Forest game already having the semifinals clinched, you would consider saving Shea for the semifinals?
Yeah, we would consider that. We've talked about it. Coach Gaines and I talked about it last night. We'll just think about it after the game on Thursday and make that decision in the morning. But he's prepared to start on Friday. DeCaro is starting on Thursday, and Houp will throw his bullpen to be prepared to start on Saturday. But if we need to make those adjustments, we'll make them.
Scott, how does the message for you to your team change at all, if any, when you transition from the regular season that you had, the accomplishments, to the postseason that you want to have?
The message doesn't change much, except, hey, we've got a lot of more work to do, and this is why you guys worked so hard to have the regular season that you've had, to be in a good position in the ACC tournament, and also be in a position to play here at Boshamer Stadium. And that was one of our goals. Sometimes you have to go on the road. We did in 2006 at Alabama, but we feel like no matter what, if you put yourself in a position to be at home, your chances are better. But my message to this team all year has been about being process-oriented, focusing on today, don't miss the day, and more about us, this year than I've really focused on that as a coach now. That if we're ready and we play well, our chances of winning are good. So let's don't even focus about the other teams or who's in our pool or who's going to be in our regional, and if we win that, who we're going to be playing in the super regional.
What is the pulse of the clubhouse like, especially with only 3 of your starters that played and won that 2022 ACC championship?
They're excited. This team is confident. They're a together team. I think the pulse is really good. I think these guys still play with that chip on their shoulder. But they also think that they can beat anybody, and that's the confidence factor. You have to have that to win games. But they've also worked, and I think they understand the value of the preparation and the hard work, and also work hard on them. The games, if we're doing what we're supposed to be doing in practice, the games should be the most fun. They should play loose. Don't want them playing tight, because it's today's world. You got all this social media and stuff. So I try to keep them off of that and just focus on having a blast like they did when they were 12, 13, playing in Little League baseball.
Thinking about Vance, this time last year, what he was dealing with, and I was thinking about the ACC tournament last year. I think he was sitting there just handing balls to whoever was hitting BP.
Yeah.
From then to now, and to have him healthy and playing the way he is, just what are your thoughts on that? And it was just so uncertain at this time last year.
Yeah, I knew, but we just were waiting to.
Okay.
We had a little bit of hope, and that was a tough blow for our team. And having a great year, people don't understand that there's a little bit of luck involved from the health issue. You have to. We've had some bad luck and lost, a couple arms. But you look at those teams that went 4 years in a row. If you have some bad luck and you lose a Kyle Seager, Chad Flack, a Dustin Ackley, something like that,
Sure.
An arm. It's hard to do that. So staying healthy is a big part of it. But now him being able to experience this again, it's awesome, because I saw how bad it hurt him. It hurt him the most because he wanted to win. It wasn't about like, hey, I can't play, draft, all this stuff. It's just like, okay, I want to help our team win. And when you're a competitor and you can't do that, it's hard to just sit there,
With 4 off days between Saturday and Thursday, what does the schedule kind of look like this week leading up to Thursday?
Yeah, we had a great day yesterday. Today is what, Tuesday? Yeah, today's Tuesday. I was mixed up the whole time because of Thursday, Friday, Saturday. We actually came in Sunday. Our strength coach did some stuff with our guys, just some active stretching, recovery, foam roll, and that type of thing. Yesterday we had a lift day for our position players. A lot of our pitchers that hadn't faced many hitters, and a lot of our hitters like Johnny, Jackson, Diggs, French, all these guys hadn't had many at-bats. They faced each other on the field live. So we had a good productive day yesterday. Our guys have been starting, got in the cages and got good work in. Our pitchers got their work in. Then today we'll have Spray's got a bullpen, and then we'll have a 2-hour good hard-nosed practice, because it'll really be the only one like that where we can do a lot of defense, a lot of fundamental stuff. Tomorrow we will get up and practice at Charlotte. Coach Woodard, is taking care of us over there, and we'll lift as a team there. Give the guys a little bit of time off, and then we'll strap it on Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday, hopefully.
How do you balance that kind of practice leading up, but also rest as you potentially play 4 straight days?
Yeah, I think you have to make sure that your practice is intent. You have to have high intent, but you also have to be realistic and know we played a lot of games, and you don't need to go 4 hours. You want the guys to be continuing to get faster and stronger, and bat speed to be good, and velocity to be good. So we cut back on our time, but we also focus a lot on nutrition and sleep and hydration and all those things.
Have any of the older guys kind of shepherded some of the guys that haven't played in a tournament of this caliber at the college level?
You know what? No, because we actually did talk about that a little bit. I mean, in 2022, that was Vance's first tournament. In 2006, I told the guys a story of that was our first time hosting since 1989, I believe. And we went in it like, hey, we're trying to win this thing and go to Omaha. And the next thing you know, we're in the national championship. And there's something to be said about it being your first, because like you're excited and you know that these opportunities. Shea Sprague hadn't been this opportunity. D'Onofrio hadn't had this opportunity. So chances are pretty dang good that they're going to relish those opportunities. So not really, just reminding them that we have so much more to do. We talked about that as a team yesterday. We'll congratulate our players that made all ACC and all that good stuff. But at the end of the day, it's about the team and about the team's success, and that's what we'll focus on.
Time for one more.
What are some similarities and differences you see between this team in 2022 as you kind of look to make a similar run?
Man, I feel like in 2022 we were dead in the water, to be honest with you. I mean, we were in the pit of all pits after the Virginia series, and I just remember thinking, man, like, whew, where we go from here, and you have no choice. You have to stay positive and try to make your guys believe. And as Danny Soretti said it after we beat Charlotte, that was either a season starter potentially or a season ender. And we kind of took off from there. I thought Alberto, as soon as big home run against Florida State, got us. That was a big swing of the bat. I thought that team was a tale of really 2 halves. We were really, really good. 3 halves. We were really, really good, and we were really, really bad, and then we ended up being really, really good. I feel like this team's a lot more similar to some of the teams that were just pretty dang good from the beginning and wanted to make a statement. This team reminds me a lot of the 18 team. That team, I don't know if you remember the shirts that they had made up, not enough meat, because everybody said that we shouldn't be a national seed. They're not that good. Luka was banged up a little bit. But that team thought they were good, and they thought they could win. We lost some tough games early. As a matter of fact, I was looking at box scores. We lost at home to East Carolina that year, 0-12. So that was not a fun day. But we got to dog pile here against Stetson. So, I don't think those 2 teams are that similar, except from the standpoint, I do think this time of year that they're playing pretty good and they believe in each other. And I will say that both teams that team started to really lock it down defensively at the end. And I feel like if you look at the second half of the season, we played really good defense top to bottom.
Thanks,
Thank you.
Coach.
For some
What do you remember about
on winning
that?
the ACC Defensive
Okay.
Player of the Year this year? We just talked to Coach Forbes about it, and he said it's really impressive, like what you're doing, especially being in your draft year. Do you feel some of that added pressure this year? You're trying to block a lot of that noise out.
It's there, and I feel like you can't deny that. That's the spot you want to be in, and it's an honor to be in this spot. So, it's not one of those things you add pressure to yourself. It's more of just like, it's there, but also, it's the same games. You go out there and have fun.
Knowing that it's there, does it feel good that you've kind of performed the way that you have this season?
Yeah, I haven't really looked at it through that lens. It's more of just going out there and just being with these guys, honestly, and just trying to soak it all in.
Vance, you've had 2 very different ACC tournaments from your freshman year to your sophomore year. Can you just describe what it was like to be as on as you were as a freshman and then to not be involved last year?
Yeah, freshman year was special. We were playing really well. It was one of the most fun weeks of my life, honestly. So we're looking forward to going back to Charlotte and trying to repeat. Last year was tough. Just trying to be the best team that I could be. Day in, day out to try to help these guys.
Vance, did you have a sense last year at this time that you were going to have to be done just for your health?
Yeah.
How was watching last year from the sidelines really made you appreciate playing in a tournament of this caliber so much more?
Yeah, not being able to participate kind of just, made me realize just kind of my passion for the game, love for the game. So, not being able to be out there really just kind of just put that new perspective in my head. And, just like this whole year, I've just been really trying to soak it in, and really trying to just be with these guys and not miss a day.
With the number of new faces this team has, there's a lot of guys that have not seen postseason baseball with Carolina. What would your advice be to some of those guys?
Just keep it the same. Just stay with the process like we talk about every single day. If we do those things, then I think, we can look up and be very excited, be very happy with our outcome.
You kind of talk about the 3 different tournaments that you've been in the ACC. The first one you guys were, Forbes said, it's kind of dead in the water, and you really needed to win it in order to secure, not just hosting a region, but even being in a tournament. And last year you couldn't play. Like, how different does each one of them feel for you, and especially this one coming in and being healthy and being a 1 seed?
Yeah, it's a definitely kind of a different spot we were in, but I think the mindset's the same. We're going in there trying to win it, and that's kind of the mindset we've had all 3 years that I've been here. So it doesn't really change in that aspect, but there's definitely I think that chip on the shoulder also stays the same too. Freshman year we really needed to win it, and this year, I think we're still kind of being doubted a little bit. So just going out there and just competing.
Obviously, the first tournament with this outfield group. How have you seen the connection between you three kind of grow throughout the year, and do you see yourself as the best outfield in the country?
Yeah. First part, I think the biggest thing for us was communication out there in the outfield, especially with an outfield having a lot of speed, being able to talk early, to be able to cover the gaps. And then the second part of your question, yeah, absolutely, 100%.
Have you and Anthony ever had any sort of race?
That's a good question. Best question of the day.
We haven't had like a one-on-one race, no.
Yeah. What would be the truest test of who's the fastest?
I'd be the fastest.
All right, so you are the fastest.
Just a couple more.
It was 2 years ago, as we've been alluding to, but is it kind of crazy how often people still bring up that NC State game where you homered twice down there in the championship game? It seems like people still talk about it so regularly.
Yeah, man, it was a long time ago, but it was an awesome game. Awesome game for the program and for the guys. So I think that's just a championship game is kind of what you dream of.
When you said you tried to soak in this season, like what things have you tried to soak in, and was Duke last weekend one of those things? Just like what are the different things you've tried to soak in?
Just being present, being around all these guys, like I said, not missing it, really just trying to just hang out with them, just be with them and just kind of like all time through the day.
So the goofy stuff too.
Yeah, that's more of it.
With Coach Forbes winning ACC Coach of the Year, can you speak to how big of a mentor he's been over the last 3 seasons for you?
Yeah, just a great coach, great person, and I think it's one of those things that he's always, he's honest, he's positive, and it's all the things you want in a head coach. We can kind of just rally behind him, and it's great to play for.
How much more important does defense become postseason time? How have you seen the defense in this team just throughout the year?
Yeah, hitting's hard. Hitting won't always be there every single day, but we really pride ourselves on pitching and defense. So I think even whenever the hitting stuff's not going, the way you want it to that day, if you can still bring the defense and pitching to the table, and you have a shot.
Vance, how does it?
Okay, Jason.
Thanks, Vance.
Appreciate it, Vance.
Yeah.
All in your hand to start the ACC tournament. What's it mean for this coaching staff to have that kind of confidence in you?
That's big. Having them give you that kind of confidence, go out there and start us off on the right foot. It's big for me. I go out there and
Let's give it a second look at helicopter.
I can't hear anything.
So loud. Okay, knock yourself out. How does your preparation change come postseason when you might pitch without the usual rest? A couple of things on at the game.
I don't think the preparation is that much different. I think I've done it a couple times in the regular season, so that's big for me, having a routine established already and being able to go back to that for the postseason when I was on a shorter rest. So I think it's big being able to go back to previous routines because I think preparation is the biggest part of success, honestly. And preparation direction for me specifically is really big.
Jason, before you got to Carolina, what was the biggest game that you pitched in, and what made it so big for you?
Nothing like this, I'll tell you that. But I don't really try to focus on how big the game is, just really try to focus on going out there and doing my game and pitching to my strengths. And I feel like if I do that, then I'll have the best chance to have success.
Jason, has Coach said anything special to you about you starting the first game of the ACC tournament?
No, not yet. No, just kind of go out there and treat it like it's any other game.
When you're warming up between innings, I was thinking about this a bit the other day. Are you working on every one of your pitches, or based on the time of the game, is there something else that you're focused on?
I kind of try to stay in the same in-between innings, like routine, do the same pitches. It kind of just helps me get back to something that I have. So, like say I have a rough inning the inning before, I can get back to that and kind of move forward and flush it quick. And I think that really helps me.
Obviously, come postseason, pitching is that much more important. What do you see from this rotation that says they have the stuff to make a deep run?
I think if you look at the regular season, I think we've done it before. I mean, our team as a whole is just ready to go. We played 3 really tough games this past weekend, and I think that really helped us get ready for what we're about to face coming up.
Jason, when you moved up in the rotation to become the Friday night guy, obviously you're going earlier in the week, but in terms of your mental approach, like did anything change about that? Did you have to change anything about that, or did you try to keep it sort of the same?
Try to keep it the same. Like I said, it doesn't really matter how big the game is or what day the game is on. Just try to go out there and prepare as best I can and go out there and pitch my game, and that'll give me the best chance for success.
How do you keep that mentality being a young guy like you are? I mean, some older players have a hard time keeping that mentality.
I think definitely talking to the older guys, getting a lot of advice from them, just kind of picking up stuff as we go. They've been really big with helping me with everything as far as like routines and also like out there, like different things to look for a hitter. And I think they've been really big with helping me, and a lot of credit goes to them because I learned a lot from them.
What's your favorite pitch to throw and why?
Ooh. I like throwing a good curveball because I like making a guy look stupid.
What is the best advice that you've gotten from some of the older guys?
Don't let your head get too big. Just kind of go out there and remember, like, you just got to go out there and do your job. That's all you can do. So just kind of going out there, staying humble, and just sticking with the process.
When you look at the outfield behind you, Vance said he thinks of the best outfield in the country. How important have they been for just helping your confidence, on the mound when they're behind you?
I definitely agree. They are the best outfield in the country. I mean, any fly ball that's hit, you kind of assume it's going to be caught. Like turn around, like any ball in the air, I'm kind of just like, all right, that's an out, which is huge. Having that kind of confidence in the guys behind you, and I mean, they're as good as it gets. Like they're unreal. So that's really big.
Did you pitch against Pittsburgh? And if so, what do you remember?
I do remember pitching against them. I don't remember much though. It's
been a long time.
Back and look.
Thanks, Dave. Thank you.
Thank you.
Who gives the best advice?
It'll be fun. I'm really excited for Charlotte. I think getting to play there the other a month ago to South Carolina. Really, really cool stadium, really cool atmosphere, and all these guys talking about how cool the experience is. So I'm really excited about it.
So you're the perfect guy to ask, since most people would agree that the ACC and the SEC are year in and year out the 2 best leagues. Through a year of play, you've seen it in both places. How do they compare?
I think they're very similar. Really, really deep teams, really deep bullpens, starting rotations, lineups. Just super, super competitive, and that's why you really want to play in the ACC or the SEC, just because every weekend it's going to be a dogfight. And so I've taken a lot of pride in that. I've had a lot of fun.
Parks, how does it benefit you guys that you've played Pitt and Wake before, if it benefits you at all?
I mean, I think it's just, we're familiar with them. Baseball's a weird game where anything can happen on any day. So we just want to kind of stick to our process and treat each game like it's its own kind of World Series. But I think, definitely it's nice to have a sense of kind of familiarity.
How difficult is it to beat a team 4 times in a season, considering you swept them both in the regular season?
No, I mean, I don't think it's too difficult. I think it's just, you play your game because each game's different, right? So there's different pitchers, different bullpen guys. Each game's its own kind of separate entity. So I think if we can approach a game like that this week, we could have a lot of success.
Parks, what would you say in terms of seeing Vance up close was your, okay, that guy's pretty different moment of different things that he can do?
Yeah, I think, there's been countless times this year where he gets on first and then 2 pitches later he's on third.
Yeah.
And so you don't really realize until you play with him, like how much he really impacts the game with stuff that doesn't necessarily show up on the stat sheet. Just some of the balls he catches in center are unbelievable. You don't even think twice about. But just him on the base pass causes so much havoc. Like you saw last week against Duke when Casey bunted, like the pitcher knew he had to rush because Vance was on second.
Right.
And so he just can cause a lot of issues for other teams.
Speaking of Vance, where were you a couple years ago when he caught the fly ball?
Yeah, I was actually in that dugout right there. Yeah.
I mean, what was your reaction when that happened?
It was crushing. That took all the wind out of our sails. But it just showed us how much of a good athlete he is and how valuable he is to the team.
Have you talked to him about that before? Like, man, you ripped my heart out on that one. Like, have you ever said anything?
Well, funny enough, it's actually shown, I think, before every game on the video board as a highlight. So I'm constantly reminded of it. And Coach Forbes has brought it up a few times. But yeah, no, it's just all fun and games.
When you watched that happen, were you kind of wishing, man, I wish that guy was on my team?
Yeah, of course. Especially, he was going through that stretch then. His freshman year, I think he had 12 home runs in the postseason or something like that. And so by the time we played him, he was, a very common name. And just to do something like that in a game with that, with so much on the line just showed just how impressive he is.
Did that trip have any bearing on you being here this year?
I mean, I don't know. I'd say coming here and experiencing regional here made me really appreciate how cool this atmosphere was and how, really well run and the tradition this baseball program has. So I think, I would say so probably just experiencing, playing here in the postseason on the other side and kind of seeing how UNC approached their business and kind of how our mindset towards them was, I think was just really impressive overall and just showed a lot just how important, baseball is to this university.
You're a team that has won 41 games, Coastal Division title, best record in the ACC, and yet Forbes still talks about you guys having doubters and people maybe not thinking that you're the best team in the league, stuff like that. Like, where is that coming from, do you think, with him?
I think it's true, honestly. I think there are some people who really haven't, maybe not given us the respect we deserve, but have been doubting us a little bit. I think it provides us a chip on our shoulder for us to keep going out and keep working. Because he always talks about, too, how we haven't accomplished anything. And I think, that's really good for us because we haven't. The regular season, it was great. You want to play your best baseball every day, but you want to start playing your best baseball now in Charlotte and in a regional and hopefully a super regional in Omaha. So I think it helps kind of just keep us motivated and really know that, what we want is in the future, it's not in the past.
Is that stuff he's saying to you guys, like that part of the message?
Yeah, he just wants to keep us motivated. Yeah. His biggest thing is, if I had to, pick one thing, is just to be process oriented. So just focus on what you can do on a daily basis to get better. You prepare yourself for the game, and if you can, trust your preparation, then the game should be easier.
Thanks, Mark.
Yep, thank you.
Thank you.
Yep.
Good stuff.